Hello, hello, and welcome to Judging by the Cover. Today we are taking a quick little look at Chillin' by the Fire. Now, this was shown on the recent Nintendo Direct that with some partner showcase that they were doing, where apparently some developer had put together this cozy little campfire game where you build a campfire. Now, the trailer is not here on the Nintendo Switch eShop. Go figure. I don't know why. So that's already not too good of a look that we only have the screenshots. We're going to jump into the description first, just to kind of get an idea what we're looking at here. For anybody who hasn't seen, we have campfires, humanity's oldest social network. Only the faint crackling of firewood fills the night. A quiet, low poly world where each player's voice blends with the flickering of the campfire. That is Chillin' by the campfire simulation game. Uh, I mean, it sounds like an interesting premise, I suppose, but there are, I don't know, like I'm kind of getting this vibe that it's mostly just kind of a glorified chat room. Growing a fire, a new kind of gaming experience. The star of this game is the tiny flame born from your fingertips. The flow of the air, the thickness of the wood, and the angle at which it's placed all intertwine as the flame steadily grows. Your goal, campfire level 10. Okay, so there is an actual like campfire level progression to grow your fire. The sense of accomplishment you feel when the firebed turns into bright red embers and the pillars of flame illuminate the night sky is more powerful than any scoreboard. And you have communication around the campfire on top of that. With an external camera connected, you can video chat with camera play. You and your friends' real faces will show up around the campfire as the light of the flames reflect off your expressions. You'll feel the same warmth even with players who are far away, a mysterious sense of closeness. Campfire convo prompts will be displayed randomly, helping to spark some small talk. From everyday chit chat to late night philosophy, the conversations are sure to get exciting. I don't know. You're kind of digging at that. If it sounds like I'm pessimistic about this, I really am. It's really kind of trying to sell itself, but so far, what I'm seeing is like, okay, if you take away the campfire, you basically have a Discord or a Skype call in a chat room. Uh, with the campfire added, you have a little game in there, and uh, it's more like that 3D chat thing that it's more like that 3D live chat software from Steam. Beauty and simplicity, blazing orange gradients in HDR. The visuals are intentionally low poly. Even so, the flames appear beautiful in a beautiful orange gradation thanks to HDR support, an eye catching vividness, and a deep soothing sensation savor them both. I am a person who appreciates simple graphics, but we're going to see those screenshots in a minute. And quite frankly, the low poly, it's not as endearing when it's this isolated tiny environment that you don't even really get to explore. Like I've seen low poly used really well for huge expansive maps or for, sprawling landscapes, but for a tiny little like chat hub, I'm not really feeling it too much. Subtle details that support healing and immersion. Try headphones to fully experience the crackling of the flames and sound of crumbling firewood. HD Rumble brings the feel of the campfire to your hand, uniting your sense of sight, sound, and touch. For anybody that's not like looking at the screen, I am looking at the Joy-Cons here, and I'm wondering like if the HD Rumble is supposed to bring the touch of the campfire. I don't think these are heated. Just throwing that out there. anytime, anywhere, whether online or via game share. Up to four players can gather around the same fire. The game supports game share, so even if only one person owns the game, everyone can play together. You also share the experience via local multiplayer on Nintendo Switch, whether you're spending a quiet night alone or catching up with faraway friends. Bring a gentle warmth into your everyday life. And you got three game modes: normal, grow your fire and try to reach campfire level 10; survival, your supply of firewood is limited. Plan how to pass the flame from one log to the next and prevent the fire from going out. It does seem like a cool thing that would be like a mini game in another game, but not as a full $15 game in itself. Quite frankly, I see this going on sale, like a massive sale soon and permanently. Playground. Use the four fire pits and play online to compete with friends. Whether racing to build the biggest fire, interfering with each other, or working together, it all depends on the rules you decide. That sounds like it belongs in Mario Party. See what I said? Like I said, it sounds like a mini game that belongs in another game that has more of a focus. Like imagine this in a Final Fantasy game, like in a large scale Final Fantasy game where your party is gathering around the campfire and there's like a campfire mini game that gives you like a better well rested bonus for the next day or something. I don't know. That's just something off the top of my head for how that could have worked its way into another game and how well you build it. The way that Pokemon has done with their curries and their sandwiches, and you have to actually put the thing together and get like a little bit of a skill perk. Same with the Poffins, the Pokeblocks, all of those food related things that Pokemon has done over the years. And you have to successfully do the thing to get a perk in the main game. Environmental changes through four stages. There's beach for high temperatures, low humidity. Enjoy the most carefree campfire. Grove, a dry forest that offers a bit more challenge, great for conversations with friends and just the right level of difficulty. A plateau with majestic mountains stretching out in the distance. The temperature is lower and sometimes showers roll through. A location where even experienced players will find a challenge. And Snow Mountain, temperatures below freezing, a frigid area where both firewood and fireblower freeze over, a harsh environment that will put everything to a test. Again, these are differences that could have made a difficulty factor in how well you manage a mini game for a bigger buff in the main part of a game, not to be the core and basically only gameplay you have. So, campfires, humanity's oldest social network in a world that's always rushing, reclaim the simple joy of just watching a fire. Now, I get that the cozy thing they're going for here, and we do have some screenshots. We have our title card here. Again, we see the low poly in, quite frankly, what could have been a very lush and detailed landscape. I feel like since the main focus is on the campfire itself, this just feels cheap. Now, I am the kind of person, I appreciate simple graphics if it lends way to much more robust and in-depth game mechanics, or if it suits the feeling of the game. Whereas if the whole focus of the game is to be centered on this fire, especially when you put people in the campfire, these are these are worse versions of vid windows from the old 1990s cartoon Reboot with an even worse environment. And Reboot was already a little low poly in the early seasons because it was, mid 90s CG. It just feels kind of disjarring and out of space, where if I'm going to have this kind of chat with people and be pulling up prompts, I think I would rather be in a Discord call, which is free, and you can play a lot of like just online silly games. There's like online tools for what, Cards Against Humanity or other similar kinds of games. There's Jackbox Games, which has its own networking situation going on. Sure, it might be a little more than $15, but it feels like more game is in it than this. And I've only played Jackbox a couple of times at a friend's place. These The way these are implemented and putting in the people's faces, it feels like they're way too close to the camera. Like the camera is right up in the people's faces at this. I don't know who it was that put all this together. Quite frankly, it looks too cheap. For the simple low poly backgrounds, you can kind of see it's all hazed out. For what is shown in the initial title card as, this open night sprawling thing, this kind of thing, if you could explore and traverse this land and it went on a ways, I would appreciate this kind of visual design. But then when you see it played out here, it looks very muted, very hazed out with the smoke. We do see the multiplayer where you have each person with their own fire, which again, this kind of removes the people from that social connection now that they're all sitting at their own fire. You do get to see their level of it, so you can see how far progressing they are. We do have another case here. Now, this scene the landscape looks a little better with the fog, but I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing when the landscape looks better the less you can see of it. This one, again, like, I can't tell if it's just smoky or if this is supposed to be a snowy mountain. I'm guessing snowy mountain, but it is a little hard to tell in some respects. The way it just looks kind of smoked out. Frankly, I am not impressed with this. It looks like the kind of thing that belongs in a bigger game that where you could have like maybe your own personal avatar in the game. Uh there's the 3D chat thing that is available on Steam. Gosh, I am blanking on what the hell that is called. Whatever that was. It but there's a lot of like 3D chat applications where you have more freaking IMVU is so much older than this. I'm not, and this is not an endorsement or anything. That is just off the top of my head, something that I remember having seen and heard about years ago that had a lot more visual appeal to it than this. And this is a full $15 game that they're selling on the eShop that they showcased on a Nintendo Partner Direct. Honestly, this is one of the most disappointing things I have seen and that I've looked at for judging by the cover. I am rating this a 1 out of 10 based mostly on its visual design, but secondly on the fact that it's a $15 game that feels like a mini game to a larger game. Like something that would have been in a AAA game. Like I said, a Final Fantasy or a Pokemon mini game where you're sitting around the campfire with your party members or your Pokemon, or if you're in an MMO, they could have been that kind of situation, the kind of MMO where you're with your actual live team members on voice call, and maybe you have this, and then how well you build your campfire and manage it for like in a brief in-game period would determine maybe a well-rested buff or a safety buff for that. The Oh gosh, that other game. There was another indie game that also had a very simplistic visual design, but that was so full of charm and character to it, where this kind of thing mixed into that game. Don't Starve was the game. This kind of thing mixed into Don't Starve, where nightfall and you staying close to your fire and close to a light source was such a central part of the game. This being, if that game got an update to basically make the fire building like this, I feel like that would have been so much better if this was in a game, like a part of a game like Don't Starve or or the Final Fantasy Party. I know I keep going back to that. It just seems like one of the most relevant things since Final Fantasy 15 had that whole road trip with your boys as the core motif of the game, where they would sit around a campfire and chat at the end of each in-game day. That that would have been the perfect kind of setting and the perfect kind of thing where you could have worked some kind of a mini game like this into it. But instead, they went and made this, gave it this low poly, smoky, hazed out, like blurred backgrounds with some of the most jarring implementations of a video call. I would much rather just get on a Discord call, and if anybody wanted to be on video chat on the Discord call, we can set that up. I could just, be spitting back and forth with them. If we want to talk about something deep or meaningful, I've got card I have Crabs Adjust Humidity, which is basically an off-brand Cards Against Humanity. I have Super Fight. I can pull a few cards like that and be like, "Hey, random conversation topic pulls a card. Here we go." I could have easily done that without paying $15 for this game just by taking something that I already have here or that a lot of people have. Almost everybody out there probably knows somebody with one of those crazy card games. Apples to apples, stuff like that are incredibly common among people who aren't even dedicated board gamers. And I know I've rambled for probably way too long on just why Chillin' by the Fire is not a good look. This is a 1 out of 10 for me, guys. If anybody has anything better to say about it, or if you have some good experiences, by all means, let me know what you think. If somebody is enjoying it, I don't want to detract from their enjoyment. It just does not look like something that I would ever want to spend $15 for. This could go on sale for 99 cents, and I probably still would not buy this because, quite frankly, I don't know of anybody that I would want to play this with. And there is no way I am playing that mini game solo.